Well everyone, Black Friday is officially here with Amazon starting their Black Friday deals early on November 20th. We recently did a video on the best Apple related deals, and in this video we're going to go over everything else, all the other tech items that I've used throughout the years that have some great deals coming up. And as you can see, we have around 10 to 15 different products which are right in front of me, which are having some awesome deals. Let's get into it. Well, alright everyone, we're going to run through these pretty quickly because like I mentioned, there is an abundance of different products that I wanted to get through for Amazon Prime Black Friday Day, or whatever you want to call it, and then also Black Friday throughout the rest of the week, because it seems like Black Friday is coming earlier and earlier every single November. So to start off, I do want to bring up the Nintendo Switch 2 because I'm sure there's going to be a bunch of different, pricing discounts when it comes to purchasing this. I know that right now you can still get it on Amazon for the regular price with Mario bundled into it, so that's something to take into account. But it's been a wonderful family console, right? We use it in portable mode or handheld mode. We use it as an actual game console with our TV. And what I like about what I have on here is this is actually a docking station by a company called Antank. And yes, the docking station for the Switch 2, we have it on the main setup in our home theater, but I actually have a few of these laying around the house. These are only $30 a piece, and they're able to output everything that you need to. You have your power, your USB-A, your USB-A 3.2, and your HDMI, and it's super easy to use. I have one in my office and I have one in the main bedroom, so I'm able to just kind of move it around without having to need it to actually bring the main hub, because the main hub does have a fan on it and keeps us a little bit more cool than the other one, but overall, it's a great little device to have around the house. So that's the Nintendo Switch 2 and the Antank station. Another fun one has to be the wokyis USB-C hub and the retro style one. I made an entire video talking about this thing and I absolutely love it. It started off as a Kickstarter, they fulfilled the Kickstarter, and now it's available on Amazon for anybody to pick up. And at its core, this is a USB-C hub, right? You have your two USB on the front, SD card, micro SD card, USB-C. On the rear, you also have two more USB-As, HDMI, you have your host USB-C, another USB-C, headphone jack. And on the rear, it also is able to have an NVMe slot, so it does support up to 4 terabyte. As you can see, I have a Samsung one right here. It works extremely well, and I'm able to use it as an external drive whenever I do see fit. And of course, this fits perfectly on top of the Mac Mini, but it will work with any device because this is just a USB-C hub. And it also has a 5-inch IPS panel built right into it. Now, I'm not going to be gaming on this little display or anything like that, but it's great for maybe some static information or diagnostic tools, and it's just a great conversation starter overall. So this one by wokyis, I believe they have a 10 gigabit version, which is one I have, and they also have an 80 gigabit version, and they're on sale right now on Amazon, so I'll leave these linked down below in the order that I mentioned them. Some other fun ones that I've been using more and more lately has to be a lot of PowerA products. So PowerA, they make an abundance of different console products like this Xbox controller. They also make some for the Nintendo Switch, PlayStation, and they kind of theme them out to different games and things like that. So I have this one. This is the PowerA one. This is one of their pro level controllers. This one is Pac-Man themed. I absolutely love this thing. As you can see, it's a special edition wireless controller designed for the Xbox. They have the HAL effects, they have the 4 mappable buttons, 3-way trigger lock. You can pull out the actual thumbsticks, which is great. And you can see that kind of two-tone design, which I love. So PowerA has an abundance of different level pricing when it comes to their controllers that they use. For some as low as $20 and some as expensive as I believe $120 to $130. So pick whichever one you feel is going to be best for you. And this Pac-Man one has been awesome. Next up, let's talk about a little bit of home security, right? Because I love to have a little bit of home security, some smart home products, especially in the HomeKit. And I've been using these by Tapo. So Tapo is a new name under the TP-Link company. So you might have known them from back in the day when they would create a lot of modems and Wi-Fi Ethernet routers and things like that. They still make that, of course, in mesh routers and mesh kind of Wi-Fi ecosystems, but now they're in the smart home game. I have a few of these around the house. This one's actually still sealed, as you can see here, because I did buy one too many, but I love these because they're simple, they're cheap, they're 4K, they're able to kind of swivel and move around, they track things around the house. They're able to determine what's a pet, what's a person, if people are recognizable. It does all the main things that you want out of a smart indoor camera at, I believe, less than $60. So you can have a couple of these around the house and it's not going to break the bank. So this one by Tapo or TP-Link, a great find. So now to talk about a different product category, sort of like the health and fitness realm. This Renpho, I believe it's called the Luna Ring or something like that, but it's a great smart ring that does everything that you want it to in a smart ring form factor. The biggest key here is battery life. You get 7 days on a single charge with this thing, and I probably get around 5.5 days on true real world use because I'm tracking my sleep, I'm tracking my workouts, I'm tracking my steps. It is great for passive monitoring of your health. Of course, I do wear my Apple Watch Ultra 2 for more of an intentional kind of situation when it comes to tracking my health. But this one, I've been loving the ring form factor. I love the color of this one, and it's very comfortable, and the case gives you even more time when it comes to battery life because it charges basically like AirPods Pro. But if you guys have ever used Renpho products before, they're great, they're high quality. They're known as kind of like the Amazon Smart Wi-Fi scale, which they've had for at least over a decade now at this point, and I've been using their scale for years. So if you guys are in the market for a health and wellness ring that isn't an Oura ring and doesn't have a subscription, I would consider giving this one by Renpho a try, and it kind of syncs across all your other Renpho devices. So if you do have a smart scale by Renpho, it'll take all those body measurements into account when you are also taking into account maybe your sleep patterns and your heart rate and all the different things that come with your wellness tracking. I've been using this Baseus power station for a few months now, and it's one of my favorites because it has everything that you want and supports up to 140 watts of fast charging. So the first and foremost one, you're gonna have a MagSafe Qi 2 wireless charger, not Qi 2.2, but again, I've had this for a couple months now, and I do believe they have a 2.2 version. You also have a nice little LED display here, so if you do turn this on, you get to see all the different diagnostics of all the different ports that are outputting and inputting power. So this kind of shows up, and this also props up, so it kind of lets you do things like standby mode. But then you also have one retractable cable, which does support up to 140 watts, which I use all the time. If I can just bring this back in. There we go. You also have two additional USB-C cables and then a USB-A cable. So I use this to power on my camera lights. I use another one just to have to maybe power on my iPad. This USB-A port I use a lot to power up or charge the batteries of my camera. And then I have this one right here, which I can use however I see fit. I do wish I had an Apple Watch charger, but again, this is more so of a power station for your desk, and this thing is on at all times and it never gets warm to the touch, and it's always outputting power for me. So this one with this little LED display is a cherry on top, which I absolutely love. And you can see individually which one's drawing the most power. As you can see, this one right now is from my light that I'm using for my camera. And now to continue on with that power situation, the next one I'm going to bring up is going to be by a company called Kuxiu. I actually wrote an article about this the other day, and what I love about this MagSafe battery is that yes, it's a 5,000 milliamp hour battery, it's Qi 2, it's nice and slim, only 9 millimeters in thickness, it's lightweight, it's made out of aluminum, but as you guys can see, this is double-sided. So of course, you have the power portion right here, which does charge up your iPhone, but then on the other side, there's more magnets, so if you have other accessories, right, like a USB-C MagSafe hub or something like this is a Lumnu's magnetic stand or G9, you can add this on here without needing to forego the battery, because normally, if you do plug in a battery or connect the battery via MagSafe, you're losing the ability to use the rest of the MagSafe battery for something else, and this one retains that ability. So I have this little finger loop right here. I'm able to hold my phone while charging it and getting a nice little package. So this is a PSA to all MagSafe manufacturers: make a MagSafe battery that is double-sided so it allows you to use your other MagSafe accessories. And I'll leave this link down below as well because I like it as a finger loop and as an iPhone stand. And then another MagSafe battery, which I actually just recently got, has to be the ChargeASAP Ice Mag 3. They also have the Ice Mag 2. The Ice Mag 3 is brand new, but it's the only MagSafe battery pack that I see that has an active cooling fan with some RGB as well. So this one is great because it has that. It's got a built-in kickstand with a bunch of different angles that you can use. It is kind of thick, but it is 10,000 milliamp hours, and this little handle is also a USB-C cable, which does support up to 35 watts of fast charging. So it's not just for MagSafe, and it does support Qi 2 2.2, which does support that 25 watts of wireless charging. And to show you what that looks like, if I just kind of slap this on here, you can see that the RGB light starts to turn on, and this fan is real. It's a real fan that spins up and actually dissipates a little bit of heat, and I can feel the wind kind of being pushed out from the little grills right there. So that's going to be Charge's Ice Mag 2 and Ice Mag 3. I believe the Ice Mag 3, the only real difference is going to be that it is Qi 2.2 versus Qi 2. And then another battery that I like to have is going to be EcoFlow's Rapid Pro. This is a 27,000 milliamp hour battery, which is going to be the biggest one you can fit through TSA, and it's exactly what it sounds like. You have 3 ports that support up to 140 watts of fast charging and 140 watts of fast charging in as well. You have a little LED screen, which does show up here if I can turn this on to let you know how much battery is left in the entire thing, as well as what each one of these different ports is dissipating. And then, you know, this is the year of all retractable cables because it does have a built-in 140 watt cable that you can use whenever you see fit. So you don't need to carry around a cable if you don't want to, and this supports in and out power, so you're able to charge however you see fit. And you can see you get a little bit of info, some settings. So if I go here, tap on here, you have your battery health, as well as the battery temperature, cycle count, and all that good stuff. And then you also have some settings here like Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, because you're able to connect it to the application in order to understand what's going on with your battery. So this one by EcoFlow, a must-have. Another interesting one, which I think everybody that has an iPad especially should have. This is a little capture card. So it's funny how it has that name because it doesn't look like a card at all, but this allows you to turn your iPad into a dummy display. I'm gonna link the video down below on how to use this thing. but essentially you plug this end to your iPad, HDMI on this end, you plug whatever console, whether it is a Switch or an Xbox, and it turns your iPad into an actual dummy display so you can play your console on the go on a larger display. This one I believe is only 20 bucks and it might be on sale for even less. They do have more high-end ones that support 4K 60 or maybe even more, like 4K 120 and things like that. But this one for 20 bucks, if you're not a hardcore gamer, easy win and easy stocking stuffer as well. And to round this off, I do want to add two more things. One is going to be Statik's MagStack. So this one is exactly what it sounds like. It is a USB-C cable, very well made one, made out of premium materials, but as you can see, it is magnetically attaching itself to itself because it's easy to roll up, and that's the trick to it. It does support slower data transfer speed of 480 Mbps, but this is mostly made for charging and supports all the charging that you would need. This is awesome for anybody, and I believe it's only 20 bucks as well, and you can get a couple of these super easily. And I just love that it's never ever tangled whenever I find it in my bag. And again, look, it just rolls up very nicely and very satisfyingly as well. And then last but not least, storage. This is the time of year where Black Friday is great for storage. Get yourself an external SSD. I like to use Samsung's T9. I also like to use Lexar's SSD, their SL500. Lexar also released a new one as well. This is the best time to get yourself as much storage as possible for as cheap of a price as possible, because Black Friday is the best time for something like that, because storage at the end of the day is storage. As long as you get yourself a nice premium one, it's going to be the fastest possible. So it's just a matter of how low you can get that price point for 1, 2, and 4 terabytes. The T9 is probably one of my favorites though at this time. So that was just a quick rapid fire of some of my favorite accessories that I've used over the year, with some high-end ones, some low-end ones, some consoles, some accessories for Apple products, some unique ones. Like, again, this wokyis retro one is great for anybody who wants to, give a gift to somebody who's just a retro tech lover, but also has some modern functionality as well. This one's probably my #1 favorite one that I've been using all year, but overall, there's a bunch of different ones that fit a bunch of different price points and different accessories and different EDCs, so take your pick. I'll leave these all linked down below with the best price points possible. And after this video, we'll be back to our regular scheduled programming when it comes to all things Apple products. But that'll do for this video. Happy Black Friday, everybody. I'm Fernando. Until next time, peace. If you did make it to the end, leave a little dolphin so I know that you made it all the way to the end, and leave a comment down below of if you did pick up any of these products.